Published, 9:05 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 4th of April 2019. Updated, 9:05 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, the 4th of April 2019. A bench fan has become an unlikely social media star after posting more than 1,000 of his favorite places to sit on Twitter. Paul Griffiths, 58, from Hartlepool in County Durham, created his My Favorite Bench page 3 years ago and now has an incredible 5,000 followers. His passion for benches began when his 3 boys were young and they used to make an annual family trip to the Hawes in the Yorkshire Dales and sit on the same bench to eat fish and chips and enjoy the views. Since then he has taken pictures of benches wherever he has traveled and eventually decided to share his favorites by setting up a website and on social media. We used to go to Hawes, and at the end of each visit we'd always end up squeezed onto the same bench looking out at the moors, said Paul, a process technician. For years after I would talk about having a website that would show off other people's favorite benches, I now spend hours responding to photographs and stories about people's favorite benches from around the world, and I love every minute of it. His wife, Janet, is supportive of the intriguing project and even poses as a model for some of the pictures. Paul's favorite 2 benches are on a walk called the Shaw in Leyburn, Wensleydale. He added, "The views across Wensleydale are beautiful and we like to come here and just sit and enjoy the changing colors with a glass of champagne or just a flask of Yorkshire tea." Mr. Griffiths also accepts user contributions, with pictures from locations including Lund Tower in North Yorkshire and the University of Zurich in Switzerland. Paul Griffiths, 58, from Hartlepool in County Durham, created his My Favorite Bench page 3 years ago and now has an incredible 5,000 followers. He pictured on one of his favorite benches in Leyburn, Wensleydale. Mr. Griffiths has taken pictures of benches wherever he has traveled and eventually decided to share his favorites by setting up a website and on social media. Pictured here is a bench by Tower Bridge in London. Mr. Griffiths has taken pictures of benches wherever he has traveled and eventually decided to share his favorites by setting up a website and on social media. Pictured is a bench at Hartlepool Headland. Another gorgeous sunset is seen here, this time taken by David Oxtavy at his favorite bench at Lund Tower in North Yorkshire. He said of the bench, "The view overlooking Lothersdale and with the Yorkshire Dales in the background is stunning and the light here changes all the time. It is a quiet place to visit." Mr. Griffiths also accepts user contributions, with pictures from locations including Lund Tower in North Yorkshire and the University of Zurich in Switzerland. Pictured here is the favorite bench of Andrew Locking. It is set on a stone plinth and is on the Old Coffin Road between Loweswater and St. Bees in Cumbria. Mr. Griffiths' favorite 2 benches are on a walk called the Shaw in Leyburn, Wensleydale. He is pictured sitting on one of the benches here. He said of the bench, "The views across Wensleydale are beautiful and we like to come here and just sit and enjoy the changing colors with a glass of champagne or just a flask of Yorkshire tea." Mr. Griffiths' wife, Janet, is supportive of the intriguing project and even poses as a model for some of the pictures. She is pictured here in the village of Bainbridge in North Yorkshire. Mr. Griffiths' passion for benches began when his 3 boys were young and they used to make an annual family trip to Hawes in the Yorkshire Dales. One of his sons, William, is pictured here with his fiancée Samantha. Mr. Griffiths created his My Favorite Bench page 3 years ago and now has an incredible 5,000 followers. Pictured here are benches in Reeth, North Yorkshire. Another bench provides the perfect place to watch the sun go down. As another day comes to a close at Hartlepool Headland, benches are to be found in all sorts of places, with another seen here at Easby Abbey, Richmond in North Yorkshire. There are stunning views from this bench in Leyburn, North Yorkshire, with a view across Wensleydale. It is just one of thousands of benches on the My Favorite Bench page. These colourful benches are to be found at Thirsk Racecourse in North Yorkshire. 2 hot air balloons are seen in the distance, as Mr. Griffiths watches on behind the camera. Another contributor to the page is Stephen Dinsdale, who took this picture of a bench on Ilkley Moor, in West Yorkshire. Mr. Griffiths snapped this quaint little bench at Pickering Railway Station on the North Yorkshire Moors Railway while on holiday in the Lake District. Mr. Griffiths got this picture of a bench overlooking the hilly terrain. Describing his new page, he said, "People tell me now that they can't walk past a bench now without taking a photograph of it and posting it on Twitter, and I know what they're talking about because it's so addictive." This bench in Ilkley Moor, West Yorkshire is another bench with gorgeous views. It overlooks the rolling Yorkshire countryside, and the nearby town can be seen in the background. Mr. Griffiths captured this scenic view of the Welsh Hills, where a lake provides the perfect place for some boat watching. Chris Hall's favourite bench is on Friars Crag and Keswick, where there is a view that Victorian art critic John Ruskin called one of the most beautiful views in Europe. He said, rarely found to be empty on a fine day. The bench is reached in about 10 minutes easy walking from Keswick, and from it there are unbroken views down that most beautiful of lakes, Derwent Water. The seasons can really change the look and feel of a bench, such as this one pictured in Warsaw, Poland. It is seen here in the autumn, with golden leaves strewn across the ground. Sutton Bank in North Yorkshire National Park is transformed in the snow. But the bench becomes a less appealing prospect, as it is covered in the chilly white powder. A moody sky is seen above this bench, which has scenic views of the Beverley countryside in East Yorkshire. Jane Neal sent this picture into Mr. Griffiths, who subsequently posted it on his page My Favourite Bench. Mr. Neal is pictured with his dog sitting on the Dorset bench. Lisa Stewart is another to submit a bench picture to the popular Twitter page. Hers is of Harlow Reservoir in